Hey guys, it's Idiot Red here, and today we're talking about the French Tier 6 light tank AMX 12t. Let's see what it looks like after rebalancing. First of all, it was a Tier 6 light tank that used to see Tier 9 tanks. Now we are a Tier 6 light tank, and we see at most 3 Tier 8 tanks. That is quite a buff in that sense. For that, we had our view range cut from comfortable 380 to 360, which I find not enough to scout effectively. Even though we have best cam of all LT6, over 38, our view range is not that great to scout well. Add to that pretty mediocre mobility. We accelerate pretty poorly and our max speed is only 60. When you play 12t, you don't feel that you're in a light tank, you are in a quick medium by mobility and scouting capabilities. Of course, it doesn't mean you can't do spotting, but you will never be first in some risky bush, and you will never be first to take the hill of mines, for example. So YOLO scouting or taking risky bushes inside the enemy territory is not for 12t, forget about it. Another thing to point out, and that caused a lot of butthurt in the community, was the cut of the autoloader. Before 9.18, the autoloader of 12t had 6 rounds with the full reload of 20 seconds. Now it has 4 rounds with the same reload of 20 seconds. Instead, 12t can now have vertical stabilizer. Let's talk about how bad that nerf actually was. Previously, one full magazine could deal over 800 damage, now it's around 540. And that means that you can no longer take out an entire tier 6 light or tier 6 medium. Sounds bad, but let's just not rush. First of all, it's not a good idea to rush a tier 6 light or a tier 6 medium in a light tank one-on-one, because even if you take out the enemy, you will lose a lot of hit points. You don't have that many, so every shot at you is pretty unpleasant. And if you don't rush anyone, then the situation doesn't look so bad. First of all, we kept our penetration of 144, which is a tier 6 medium penetration. It's the same as T-3485, it's greater than of Skoda T-25, which has 132. So we have no longer needing gold rounds, as we meet mostly tier 6 and 7 tanks where 144 is well enough. Most of the time, regular rounds will work just perfectly. Another point is that even though the magazine was cut to only 4 rounds, just tell me, how often did you actually fire all 6? Well, let's be honest, not too often. From time to time you had a chance to fire all 6 rounds, but most of the time you had only a chance to fire 2, maybe 3, 4 at best, before the enemy turns his turret at you and you have to hide. So basically, even before, it was mainly like pew 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 and hide reload. In that sense, the firepower hasn't decreased so much. I'm not saying it's not worse, of course now you don't even have a theoretical chance of using 6 rounds. But I just want to point out that in terms of dealing damage, it's not all that bad. At least I managed to keep average damage on the same level as in 9.17, over 1000. Yes, the DPM looks ridiculously low now, but it's not really correct to talk about DPM of the autoloader. It's not that important because you deal concentrated damage. Like Badshat has the worst DPM among tier 10 mediums. So this low DPM doesn't really stop you from dealing damage, and especially with vertical stabilizer available now, you will be able to put more shots in. Just make sure that you aim fully when you snipe. Wait for the aiming circle to contract before every shot. You will unload slower, but you will at least hit the target with all your shots. Yeah, an important little point to add, the vertical gun arc is just horrible. We are all used to bad gun depression of French tanks, but it also has terrible gun elevation. And it's so bad that it really makes trouble. You shoot if and only if you are on a completely flat ground. If you are standing on the slope of the hill, on the side of the hill, you will never be able to shoot anywhere. Usually I ignore mentioning gun depression because there is nothing special, or you can look it up. But this one is exceptionally bad and uncomfortable, so try to stand on horizontal ground if you want to shoot. My advice for you is to play this tank as a semi-light, semi-medium. Don't try to be 100% scout, the tank is just not good enough for it. You don't have enough view range. You have a pretty well-penetrating weapon, now with vertical stabilizer. And for you, and for any enemies you meet now, several shots from you will be painful. Support mediums or do some sniping. If the team needs you as a scout, then you can do some scouting, using your good camo. You can give some initial spotting, but now you have gun that penetrates, so don't waste your chance to deal some damage. 1,000, 1,500 is not that hard to deal. If this video was interesting and helpful, you can put me a like so that more people see it and recommend it and in search results. Thank you for watching and see you in next videos, guys.